It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics. It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
Yeah, that happened, didn't it? All right, hold on. I told myself I was going to do this to start the show, and just because that was the most disappointing loss of all time doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. So let me get through this, and then we can get to the disappointment. You ready? This is the Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, Burdick BMW, Burdick Ford postgame show. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Yes, that sucked, right? What's going on, everybody? Jordan Capozzi, postgame show. Syracuse falls to Virginia Tech, 101-95. Syracuse led for damn near 35 minutes of that game, and then they just let it all slip away at the end. I've got a ton of thoughts, but I'll start with this. 315-437-7644. Just because we're not on the radio doesn't mean that you can't call in and let your thoughts be known. Again, 315-437-7644. I tweeted this out, and it might have been my fault, but it was a very, very weird game where it didn't really feel like Virginia Tech was giving you anything that put you in danger, but you also didn't feel like Syracuse was safe, and why would we feel that way after what we've seen this season? I don't even know how to prioritize what just happened, so I'm just going to try to go with my observations that I think are the most pressing, and then we'll work from there. I don't think any of you guys need a recap as to what happened if you're watching post-game. First things first, we saw it in the NC State game, and we saw it in this game in the first half. It was Eddie Lampkin. It was Jair Davis. Cuse Sports Knower in the chat. Were you the one who said that this game had overtime written all over it, by the way, during pregame? Credit to you if that was you. We saw Eddie Lampkin and Jair Davis dominate inside to score the ball at the start of the game. And what happened to it in the second half? Maybe Virginia Tech was doing a better job stopping it. They were a little bit. But Eddie Lampkin was spending so much time on offense outside of the three-point line in that second half, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. JJ really didn't give you too much until the end. I will say he started to take over at the end. There was a little stretch. I think I have it written down here. It was right after that bailout three, where he got 3 free throws and missed them all. Then he kind of took over, get into the rack, made his free throws, but he didn't really give you much. And I said it on yesterday's Orange Nation. I think Syracuse's key for the rest of the season is JJ being efficient. And that just wasn't an efficient performance from JJ. They had the efficiency inside. They just didn't do it. JJ goes 5 for 14. Jair Davis only took 11 shots, led the team with 21. again, I understand if Virginia Tech did something that completely and utterly ruined your ability to go inside with the ball, and I'll give them credit. Virginia Tech's post defenders were doing a better job using their hands to put pressure on Jair Davis and Eddie Lampkin, and they forced a few turnovers. But why is Eddie Lampkin outside the three-point line when going down low was your entire offense? Why? I don't get it. 315-437-7644. This is only on Cuse Sports Talk, people. There's no commercials, so we're just going to cook here. Mike McAllister says defense was the issue. The defense was embarrassing, especially in the second half. I didn't notice this as well. So was it USL, the OT game? Good call. Paulie texted this, and if you noticed this, let me know. Paulie Sibilia said Virginia Tech was running the same play over and over and over again in the second half. I didn't quite notice it. One thing I've always been really bad at is spotting those things when I'm trying to pay attention to one team. But something happened, and Virginia Tech was just able to score. Now, I will say, they didn't hit any threes to start, and it's every team Syracuse plays. You're going to have open threes. If you can hit them, then you're going to have a very good chance to win. But there's still no excuse for losing that game. Here's something else I want to talk about. Let me know in the chat what you think about it, because Carlos did hit that 1-3, and it was a crazy 3 to send the game to overtime. But at the end of regulation and at the end of overtime, the two shots you have are Jaquan Carlos from the corner and JJ Starling from the other. Do you like that? Lucas Taylor had fouled out by the end, if I'm not mistaken. So it's pretty much Chris Bell or nothing. I don't know what you're going to do when you only have one guy who you can trust to shoot the 3 at the end of the game, right? But how do we feel about Jaquan Carlos and JJ Starling being the two guys to take threes at the end of the game? Jason Spears in the chat. I'm going to try to get some chat comments here too. Again, if you want to call 315-437-7644, try to get you some sound from Adrian Autry when it comes in. Jason Spears in our YouTube chat. We do check it. JJ isn't an efficient player. He's a volume shooter who plays no defense. I mean, here's the thing. He's had games where he's shooting at least 50-ish%. And if we have to play the rest of the season with him as your best player, your go-to guy, then he's going to need to be better. And yeah, I get it. He is what he is at this point in the season. I'm just saying, like, he needs to be better if this team's going to win. Great point from Ryan Mullen in the chat. Chris Bell, 1 for 1 from 3. I'd rather he go 1 for 5. You can't shoot 1-3. Chris Bell and Petar Mastorovich cannot shoot the same amount of threes in a game. And I saw a lot of you on Twitter point it out. Bell passed up that 3 at the end of regulation that he gave to Carlos. Now, I feel bad talking anything negatively about Carlos taking that shot. 1, because he's wide open. 2, he made the next one. He did go 1 for 6 in the game. So if you don't think he should have taken it, that's fine. But Chris Bell's got to be taking those threes. Yeah, Super Cat. Exactly. Chris Bell's got to want the 3. Here's what I'll say about Jaquan this game, though. Jaquan played well besides forcing. Like, there were times where Jaquan on offense, he was forcing shots and he was taking threes he didn't need to. 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, set the tone defensively, 6 rebounds. Sorry, Jaquan. I got to give you those. I thought he played a really good game, and he played the most minutes on the team. That's more than J.J. Starling. That's more than Jair Davis. Jaquan was the little engine that could out there. He played a good game. But also, 1 for 6 from 3 just isn't great. Let's talk about Lucas Taylor, too, for a brief second. Because it's tough to talk about him in that game, right? It's tough to talk about him in that game because what did he do? Played 12 minutes, he had 5 fouls and a board. That's it. Didn't take a shot. Committed a turnover and didn't take a shot. They did not lose that game because of Lucas Taylor, but damn it, for a guy who has stepped up in the second half of the season, you cannot have that performance. What in the world was that foul at the end when Virginia Tech's in transition? Guy gets to the rim and he just slaps him. They're already in the bonus. They're already in the 1-and-1. What's the point of the little ticky-tack foul? Hug the guy. It was an and one. Hug the guy. What was that, man? That's not what you want from a veteran player. A guy who was brought in to be a veteran presence. A do-it-all versatile guy who's smart on the floor and plays good, gritty defense. What is that foul? I mean, come on, man. That was a really just brutal performance from Lucas Taylor. 315-437-7644. Syracuse falls 101-95 to Virginia Tech in a game that was pretty big for ACC tournament seeding. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't really care about the seeding because I don't think most of you believe Syracuse has a chance to go on an ACC tournament run. So that is what that is. I've been begging for calls the whole time. Our guy Jason in Maryland has some reactions immediately, and I appreciate him calling. So enough listening to me crash out over Lucas Taylor committing a stupid foul. Let's get to Jason. Jason, how are you, man?
I'm all right, man. The thing with this team, and it's been the problem all year, they simply have no earthly idea how to play defense. They're still going under screens. They're leaving guys that shoot 50% from three wide open. Look, we've all been through the Red Autry, should he be fired, should he not? He's probably going to be back. But when you're essentially playing the same level of defense now that you were 4 months ago, that's an indictment on this coaching staff's ability to coach man-to-man defense.
Down a lot against Figueres. Just can't get any breathing room. Discards left side.
Figueres
is just all over their
Lights throws it away. Bounce pass is wide as it came towards behind the goal. Another turnover on Utah. The Orange will start the clearing process with under a minute to play in the first half.
That's coaching.
One goal right now from Utah. This is a good Utah offense. They put 19 on Ohio State, a ranked team.
No doubt.
Either you're coaching it or you're allowing it.
Orange 21 shots, 14 for Utah. Syracuse clears and uses that timeout smartly. That would just go away if they don't use it now. So they'll set up a play with 41 seconds remaining in this second quarter. And let's hit a quick break.
Over again and seeing no improvement on the defensive end of the floor is infuriating to me, and it should infuriate all Syracuse fans because it's disgusting to watch.
I'm glad you feel the way I do, Jason. I guess what's tough about it, I appreciate the call, and I'll leave you on for a second. We do have someone calling in behind you, but I'll wait until they're getting ready. Just what do you even do about it? Because obviously this team is what they are defensively. Are you in the camp of Red doesn't deserve another year? And if you said it, I'm sorry, I was messing with the board a bit. But are you in the camp of you got to get rid of Red?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe this guy can get us anywhere near the tournament next year. So you're essentially just, excuse my language, but pissing away a year. There's no point. I think you need to burn it down. The coaching staff is not very good. Because there's no improvement. Like, there's literally none. If anything, we've gotten worse. And this is I've heard people make excuse after excuse for this guy. This ACC this year is absolutely atrocious. And we're terrible. We're probably one of the 4 worst teams. So, no, we're not loaded in talent, but we do have enough to be better than what we are. So, no, I don't think he should get another year, but I do think he will.
That's kind of where we're at, Jason, and I appreciate you checking in. Callers are lining up, so I'll let you go, but thank you for doing your thing.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man. That's kind of where we're at, and look, I'm going to start here, and I apologize for the issue with the board. I wasn't prepared. Men's lacrosse, though, they're doing well. I don't necessarily think you just get rid of Red right now, because I don't think bringing another coach in is a guarantee that it'll get better. But the repetitive everyone on the air saying why talk about it is not because of that. It's because it's just going to happen. And I think Jason is where a lot of people are, where it's like, do they think he should? No. Will he? Yes. So it's frustrating, but I mean, the defense was just baffling. I mean, that one play where Hammond was wide open on the 3, that's got to be coaching, right? Like, I mean, Carlos has to stick to his man, but that's discipline. That's keeping your eye on the 47% 3-point shooter when they can make it a 2-possession game with a 3. I don't know, but that was a good call from Jason. Hoping for another one with our guy Gavendo here. Matt, what's going on, brother? Thanks for calling.
That was tough. I mean, I thought we were in good shape for a while, and then the table started to turn.
That sucked, dude. That sucked.
I don't want to be that guy because the guy's got a double-double averaging, but I can't wait for Lampkin to leave. The way he plays defense.
Jason was just saying that, too. Yep.
He's dropping. Like, if you want a guaranteed bucket, you got to go after Lampkin. That's what they're saying. And it happens every time.
Yeah.
And he'll jump with the shooter, and he didn't even stick his hand up. Like, you just jumped. Like, what are you doing? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't care if Carlos hit the game-tying 3. I can't wait for him to go either. He's a good kid, but he's just not the caliber type player that we need. We need better.
He played well tonight, though, no? Or was it Carlos's defense?
No. He scored 7 points, but the same thing, too. You know, it's not hard to score on these guys. And how do you give Bell 1 3-point attempt?
Yeah.
Like, I know he passed up a couple, but like,
that's what I was wondering too, man. Like, when the inside game stopped working, we've seen earlier this year, like Autry drew up some plays to get Bell open off flare screens or whatnot. I didn't see a lot run for Bell, and I agree with you. Like, what are we doing?
How about how many times did the Big Duke score in that right in a row, and then you don't see him again for the rest of the game? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know, man. Those early Big Duke minutes weren't that good, but when Jaquan started finding him on the pick and roll, they did really have something. And it is interesting because Eddie can do that pick and roll as well, but you don't see it as much from him because they want him distributing. So I agree. I mean, Eddie provides some good things, but does he provide what they necessarily need? I'm not sure.
How about, since we're in a professional sports atmosphere, right? We're paying players to play, correct? What happens? We have a draft with all the Power 4 conferences, and they all get the draft players. You got your 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, and then don't have to worry about anything else other than that. And now you draft players. You got to pay them. There should also be max. Is it 100? Is it 250K? I mean, they're already getting an education, and I think they should be paid. But like, this is going crazy. Have a draft. What do you think?
See, it's tough though, because now you're forcing kids to go to college where they are, and we all know, especially at Syracuse, that the degree is the most important part of being a college.
That's what happens.
Athlete.
Nobody wants to go play in New England, right? I know that's your team. But, like, same concept. Tough shit. You got to go play somewhere.
Hey, you leave Drake May alone. Gavendo, I appreciate the call, man. Rick's calling all the way from Waynesville behind you, so I'll let you go.
Hey,
but
brother.
Thank you for bringing it, man. Appreciate it. 315-437-7644. Syracuse falls 101-95 to Virginia Tech in overtime. I appreciate you tuning in, watching. Jordan Capozzi here with you. We're going to keep the ball rolling for about as long as you guys want to. We'll try to get some Autry sound. Heck, if we go long enough, maybe I'll play the presser for you. We got at least an hour, man. Our guy David out there is working a double, going right to the restaurant after this damn shift. He's working a double for us, and he's got until 4:15. So David's out there grinding. If you want to keep on talking, we'll be here until then. I don't gotta go anywhere until the Elimination Chamber starts. Shut up. Claps for David out there. All right. Rick in Waynesville. Sorry if you just had to listen to that, Rick. Appreciate you calling, man.
Hey, yeah. Like everybody, I watched this game today, and how frustrating it was to leave Young wide open on plays. Young just killed him. He was the killer, the slayer. And, I know Red Autry and everything, but when they hired him, I really thought Jerry McNamara should have been the selection. And I'm going to tell you why I think so. Because Mac, he seems like, and I could be wrong, and I know he's not doing super great at Siena, but he would have been the guy I would have selected because he is the killer instinct. And I think this team lacks a killer instinct. When they were up by 13, you guys have to go. These guys have to go, and they got to say, we got to put them away. We got to bury them. We got to take them down. And it just doesn't happen. And I don't know what Autry's doing with it. I mean, I don't know if he's telling them or what's going on. And, I have to agree that, Carlos hits the tire, that's great and everything, but it seemed like we fell apart in overtime. And we just can't seem to put anything together. I don't know. I'd like your thoughts on all this.
So, and I'll leave you on the line, Rick. I appreciate it. The Jerry thing is just so tough for me because I don't think a coach would have changed how this season went. I think there's pros and cons to each of them, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. I do appreciate you acknowledging that Siena isn't having this groundbreaking year because they've improved, but they just lost to last place Canisius. So Jerry's a great coach, great person. He's not like a wizard who's waved his magic wand and brought Siena a title. I do wonder sometimes the motivation factor, because when you hear Red in those post-game pressers, he never says anything really that fires you up. You could think Boeheim was cranky, curmudgeon-y, this, that, but sometimes he said stuff that made you feel something. We've heard Red say the same stuff at post-game. Now, that's not to say that post-game and the locker room aren't completely different places, but I do agree with you that I do wonder, what fiery motivating factors Red is bringing to this team, because the guys don't play like they have a fire under their butt. There's also no guarantee Jerry would have done that, but I agree with you. We've had Jerry on the station a bunch of times, and when he talks, you feel something, man. He is a great speaker. So I don't know. I totally see what you're saying, and it's a shame these are the discussions we have to have after a regular season game. But I agree with you, but I also just don't want to say Jerry would fix everything, if you know what I mean.
Right. Well, one of the things, too, is, and I'm sure people out there might say, well, with the recruiting aspect, with Carmelo's son coming there, and I don't think even if they did do something, I think Carmelo's son would come there, still will come there. But to me, I don't know. It's can Autry fire these guys up? I just don't think he can. I'd like to be able to say, hey, he can, but I just don't see it. Maybe I'm missing something, but that's my thought.
I'm not sure, Rick. I do appreciate the call, man. Thank you very much, sir. 50.
Cuse. Let's hope we can do it.
Let's go, Cuse. 55 years of fandom from our guy, Rick. Yeah, I don't know. I'll chat with Rick about that, but I won't really. Oh, did I just... If somebody just tried to call and I just hung up on you, call back. I'm really sorry. Pressed the wrong button. I don't want to keep talking about the whole Jerry Autry thing. I'll just get back to the game. Jair Davis was great, man. I want to get into this. Adrian Autry was asked Thursday on the show, who's the X factor for a run for the rest of the season? Adrian Autry told this same thing to the broadcast team as it was discussed on the broadcast. Jair Davis stepped up. 8 for 11, 21 points. Now, only 2 rebounds. That's not okay in 38 minutes from a forward. So I will throw that out there. But in terms of scoring, he stepped up there. And Eddie Lampkin did have another good game, but 4 turnovers? As a big man, I understand he has the ball a lot, but when you just look at the two, Eddie, 7 for 13 with 4 turnovers and only 3 assists for what it's worth. Jair, 8 for 11. 2 turnovers, yes, only 1 assist, but it makes you wonder, like, maybe Jair should have even gotten the ball a little more. Because unlike Eddie, where he doesn't really have that pull-up jump shot in his game, Jair can just take it on the baseline, and he can kind of make something happen barely off the dribble as well. So I kind of wish Davis would have gotten a little more, but as Can-Am Christian says, there was time where he turned the ball over as well. So I don't know. We're getting a lot of it all comes down to defense, though. We'll get to a call in a second, but Supercat's asking where Atan and Devo are. I believe they're going to be Tuesday. I believe Atan and Devo are going to be Tuesday this week at 11. And Laker in the chat, uncharacteristically going after Autry today. I wouldn't say I'm going after him. I was just responding to a caller because he asked about the motivational factor, and that is something I wonder. I do wonder, like, what the motivation is based on when I hear him talk post-game. He never really sounds that fired up or anything. Supercat says Davis tried to do too much. See, I don't know. I feel like sometimes that was Lampkin. Interesting. So a lot of people think he was doing too much. But, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? I don't know. Maybe Chris in Syracuse will have the answers for me. Chris, appreciate you calling in, man. How you doing? What you got?
How's it going? This is a typical behind Autry meltdown. They can't coach. It's a 4-minute game. They know how to distance those players. Just like little details. And it's all in a nutshell how they lost the Pittsburgh same thing meltdown. I mean, until they get a different coach outside university. Hopefully they will, but, you know, knowing SU, they have them for a couple more years and just won't make the tournament. Yeah, you can say that Anthony's still coming next year, but coaching, nothing's going to change. You have to improve all season. Watch this team play, and I haven't watched this game a few games, but, I mean, they can't even make, like, simple free throws, and, like, especially, what do you call it, starting miss those 3. Those are huge, especially they're up by, 4? They got bailed by a fall. I feel like that was kind of like a momentum swinger right there, actually. So it's, I don't know. This team's, let's give away one more game. They have, 2 more games left, SMU, and I don't think he's winning that one. Or Virginia, I'm kind of scared of McNeely guy. He might be taking, he might do well in that game, so I don't know. So, I don't know. Donnie Freeman next year. I don't think he's going to come next year either. So I think it's all going to be obviously different squad. So hopefully, from the transfer portal.
Let me ask you this, Chris, because I appreciate you taking the time to call. You said you don't think the team has improved on anything this year, which I can see where you're coming from. If they improve as a whole unit on just one thing next year, what do you think would make the biggest difference? Because they can't shoot consistently. They don't play great defense. They turn the ball over at a tough amount. Like, what do you think the most important thing is between this and next year for them to do? Better yet, what should their identity be next season? Because they don't really have an identity either.
They don't, and honestly, defense. Defense needs to offense. If they don't focus, that's obviously defense. That sounds crazy more than offense, but defense makes the offense work. So how many times I shoot in the zone over years, defense make transition points? Toss off with that. Look at the Eagles. They won because of their defense. That's what I'm saying. Like, defense wins, frustrates opponents.
Fair enough. I don't think you're alone in that, Chris. Appreciate you calling, man. 315-437-7644. Yeah, that's been kind of a consensus in the chat, too, that they lost this game on defense. I don't blame you. Before I just start going aggressively on the comments, also, David, if you have any luck with the Autry sound, just open it right up on my screen. You might have to search for it a bit. What stinks, somebody noted in the chat, Kyle Cuff had a really good game, and it feels wasted. I mean, we played the match game on Friday, and we were discussing who will have a larger value of their game high, Owen Hiltz or Kyle Cuff in points. Cuff was making his threes, led the team in threes today, was going in there and battling on offensive rebounds and keeping the ball alive. And it's just a shame to waste that kind of performance. But it's just been a theme, man. This team, it's been a theme all year. Cuff plays really well. You get nothing from Taylor. Jair plays really well. You get nothing from JJ until the end of the game. You get nothing from Bell, even though Lampkin has another double-double. Just, it's not possible for these guys to all have a good game at the same time. And when your team is just not as talented player for player as the other team, everybody has to be able to play as well as they can at once. What stinks is I legitimately had this thought on the way here today. You know what? We might not have even seen Syracuse play their best basketball yet. Is there a chance we haven't seen them play their best basketball? Why can't they go on a run? Why can't they? Silly me, right? Silly me. We have a little bit of sound from Adrian Autry on the TK99 broadcast. Thanks for cooking that up, David. But before we get you that, I agree. I'll go to Can-Am Christian. I don't think they were overmatched in talent today. So that was a season-long thing. I don't want anybody to think this game they lost because of talent, because they didn't. Lawal, Virginia Tech's best player, was out. They had no excuse to lose this damn game. They had the talent. They had the size. They had everything. People are saying it in the chat, and look, if I've got to pick something, yeah, it had to be coaching, right? Why couldn't you figure out something to start scoring after you started out hot? Why did you let Young just absolutely go off in the second half? How are you leaving shooters wide open? Why is Chris Bell only getting 1 3? Why is Jaquan Carlos taking 6 threes to Chris Bell's 1? What were those runs? What was being done there? Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a coach, so I can't point to exactly what he did wrong or what he could have done, and maybe I should be better at that. But what I can tell you is there was a lot of time during the game where I'm like, man, that inside offense really worked to start. Why don't we keep going back to that? Stuff like that. I'm seeing a lot of like JJ refusing to pass too, which I don't know. Like, I get that. I do think there are times where JJ and Eddie both this game were just trying to shoot too much. We got Jake in Ithaca before we get to the Adrian Autry sound from the Learfield broadcast on TK. Appreciate you calling. Appreciate you listening. What's happening, Jake?
Hey, I appreciate you not keeping me on hold so I have to listen to Autry's blah, blah, garbage coach speak over and over. But, you had to see JJ and Carlos getting worked over like pizza dough out there. You don't think for a second to go to zone as a coach, like just to slow Young down? I mean, neither one of them could guard him. It was just embarrassing to watch. And no thought of zone there, Coach? Good thinking. In terms of your identity question earlier, the last 2 seasons we've had a lot of depth on these teams. And I might be dating myself here, but I really wanted to see them do a Nolan Richardson style, run press trap, 40 minutes of hell, guys in, guys out, fresh guys, run, press trap. I mean, they had it last year. Malik Brown was great on defense. They have nobody this year who's great on defense. But just something different on identity, anything. Thanks for taking my call.
Got you, Jake. I like watching the team press, but whenever we've seen them press this year, I think they've gotten a little better at it when they figured out that Pitar is good with the press. But at least at the beginning of the year, and still sometimes when you see it, their press just stinks. It's Swiss cheese, man. Sometimes it's good, but a lot of the time, it's Swiss cheese. And yeah, that's a good point, Kenny Payne. Expert Kenny Payne. They can't play half-court defense, and you want them to press. Cuse Sports Knower in the chat promises we would have won this game if you were coaching. The press is cool. I mean, I miss Malik Brown. I do. But they just don't have the guys. And also, not to mention, you got Elijah Moore, who's out. Donnie Freeman's out. Lucas Taylor was in foul trouble, too. So I know they're college kids. They should have unlimited energy, but you got to have a few bodies to run the press. And they don't have a ton of those bodies right now either, just throw in there. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, though. I'm just thinking. Adrian Autry always chats with either Matt Park or Paulie after the game on the Learfield broadcast, TK99. Here is what Adrian Autry had to say after today's game.
I thought, we had a tough stretch to start the second half, turnovers, and then offensively we got a stall. But then when we got back into it, got back in the game, our defense just wasn't good enough. I mean, they scored 100 points. So again, it's a lot of blame to go around. We got to do a better job of taking care of basketball, and then we got to do a better job of defending. And we just kind of didn't do that. We didn't do that. It's not kind of. We didn't do that. So this is a tough loss. I mean, they scored 100 points. It's not going to be fun to watch this, but still a lot of stuff that I feel like we had control over and we just didn't capitalize and take advantage of.
That is Adrian Autry following Syracuse's 101-95 loss to Virginia Tech, in which they led by double digits, and they led for, hold on, let me do some fractions real quick. 35 out of 45. That's 7 out of 9, right? So what is that? They led for like 82% of the game or so. 78% of the game. They led for like 4/5 of the game and they still lost. That was embarrassing. Now, here's what I will say today, and you can let me know whether you agree or disagree. I hate to admit it, but there's some points in the season where I felt like a little bit apathetic, I guess, which is the thing you want the least. Like being at the NC State game, because I go to all the home games to film the post game. I sit there and there was this game, there was another game where it's like, this is just bad basketball, man. Like it wasn't super exciting. I was legitimately PO'd at the end of that game. Like I felt something. They beat NC State. They had a chance to get a win on the road. Hey, let's try and maybe get the ball rolling into the ACC tournament. Why not us? I felt something, man. I was pissed when they pissed that one away. Sorry for the double P there. So at least we got that. At least I kind of felt something today. Felt good. Felt good to feel something. 315-437-7644 if you want to call. I just checked. We don't have the full press conference available yet, but what I'll do is I'll go on Twitter and I will look for some quotes for all you fine people, and in between that, I'll read some comments and I will kind of respond to them. Oh my gosh, we have the Brett the Hitman Hart in our YouTube chat. Mike W., same old empty talking points. Well, Mike, this is a Cuse Sports Talk only show. So, Mike, let me know, like, what do you want to talk about? It is a post-game show, so I don't want to sit here and just talk about coaching too much. I do want to try to focus on the game and what we can improve. So we'll go with that. But other than that, you asked where is Chance Westry? It's been pretty well known for at least a month that he's done for the season. What's the lax score? I don't know now, Bowling Ball. I could play it for you. I already did that and messed it up. But they were up 7-1 in the first quarter, so I really hope they didn't blow that one. That's just what I need. Women's lacrosse, for those of you wondering, lost a heartbreaker to Clemson. 9-8. Back and forth the whole game. I'm seeing if I can find some Autry press conferences. Oh, God, that's not good. Apparently, Mike Young pat Autry on the back and shook his hand and said, "I'm sorry," as they switched out of the locker room. Ooh-wee. Never good when the other coach is apologizing to you. Ooh-wee. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the way this works is that the winning head coach goes in before the losing head coach, I think. So if that's the case, then that would mean that Red Autry hasn't even said anything yet. But I'll try to get you some quotes when he does. I'm sorry, Jason. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. I appreciate you calling. I was messing with the board. All right. I don't know what that means, the expert Kenny Payne. I don't know why he apologized. It's just from a Virginia Tech reporter, Scott Schild. It's not Virginia Tech. He's a photographer for Syracuse.com, who, believe it or not, we are allowed to talk about. Mike Young consoles Syracuse coach Adrian Autry while they switch out of the press conference room. I'm sorry, with a handshake and a pat on the back. Not what you want to see. I'll dive just right into the comments now. And we'll just keep going until, like, I see a substantial amount of people leaving. Because I've kind of said what I've had to say about this game. They started off hot. I thought it looked good. The defense started playing terrible. Some of the guys started forcing it on offense. Virginia Tech actually had the ability to hit shots. Different guys took over at different moments. I mean, Bell in the second half had 5 points when they really needed it. J.J. Starling had a little takeover at the end, but SU didn't score for like a 3-minute stretch as the final quarter of the game, not literal quarter, you know what I mean, was starting up, and that just kind of set the tone for the rest of it. I'll make a poll for you guys. Again, we're loosey-goosey. It's Cuse Sports Talk Call only. It might as well have called Red Slugger. That's funny. Hold on. I'm going to make this poll for Ryan. And I'll announce it if I think about it. Okay. I think that's the right poll, Ryan. 315-437-7644 if you want to call. Did SU go 8 minutes without a field goal? Let me check, Laker. I mean, I don't remember what their longest drought was, but I know they went 3 minutes without a field goal at one point. That's not 8. I'm checking for you. I'm sorry. I know this is very engaging, but he's asked the question quite a few times, so I really want to get him an answer. Not in the first half. They went about 3 in the second half. All right. From the 8:45 on the clock in the second half. So, yep. Nope. That was a free throw. They did not have a layup or a basket for 6 minutes from 8:45 on the clock in the second half to 2:47. They only made free throws. In that stretch, that was when Pitar missed the front end of a 1-and-1. And that was when JJ made a couple of free throws, as did Jair. So in a very key stretch of the game, Syracuse went 6 minutes without a basket. Yikes. Did we ever get the official cause of JJ's injury? Something in practice, PJD. I'm just answering any questions now. See, I don't agree with this, Aaron. If anyone wants JJ to come back next year, they are on drugs. I think JJ's a good player. I just don't think he needs to be out there doing it himself. He doesn't really have the shooters out there to kick it to all of the time, so I understand what is he supposed to do. The thing that's frustrated me with JJ this year, and Coach Autry answered this in the Q&A, because this guy, SU Woohoo, who for some reason isn't in the chat today, but he was there then, and he said, has JJ emphasized shooting threes more? And Coach Autry said that it was because you need to give him the threat of a three-point shooter so that he can drive. But I just don't like seeing JJ shoot all of these threes this year. Is anybody else with me? Like, he's not a three-point shooter. And I think he shoots way too many of them. I know it pisses Cody off. The Sports Show with Cody Mack. If Pat calls, I'll call. Just call, Cuse Knower. Just call. Now, I will say, holy poll results, Gaper Bingzoid. I'm not going to reveal who, but one person did the majority of the voting by using their channel points. So I'm going to throw that out there. Didn't he miss 3 in a row? JJ free throws, yeah. After he got that bailout three-pointer, he missed 3 in a row. Oh, 12:15 to 3:40 mark, Florida guy? Was that in the first half? Because I didn't see that one. JJ made a layup at 11:49. Carl, yeah, no, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right, to be honest with you. To be perfectly honest with you. T-takes. Chris Bell had a very nice hustle play with the chase down block. Who do you think wins the chamber tonight? I don't want to talk too much about wrestling T-takes because everybody leaves, but I've seen a rumor it could be Drew. It could be John Cena. Bell did have a great hustle play. I really like seeing those plays from Chris Bell because he has gotten comments on his effort, and I don't say that like it's a totally outside thing. Like there have been comments from people on this channel about his effort because it doesn't always seem like he's given it 100%. That's the issue with Chris Bell, and it's the issue with most of this team is the inconsistency. And inconsistency, I think, is a mental thing. And there's a reason that, Chris Bell talks all the time about not going on social media and this and that. It's like a mental thing with him. So it shouldn't surprise us that he has a game like this where he only shoots 1 3. They did do a pretty good job guarding him. I'm not to sound, like it's a cop-out, or Atan loves this one, and Atan knows the game, so, you can't completely discredit it. But Virginia Tech did a good job staying on Bell. There were a couple plays they could have found him. There was one where he was in the corner pretty open, and Eddie was just trying to do that thing where he does the hook, which, by the way, is an offensive foul. Never call it. You can't hook. But he aggressively tried to hook his way to the bucket, and he turned it over, and you could see Chris Bell, if you were watching on TV, kind of roll his eyes on the way down the court. Those are the ones where you kind of wish they would have found Bell. I do think sometimes Eddie, for the great passer he is, needs to do a little better of a job looking up and not just trying to force his way to the cup. Because we know he's a damn good passer. We do. So I'd like to see it more. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world, but there were some opportunities. He had 4 turnovers. He could have kicked it out on at least a couple of them. Let me tell you that. He definitely could have kicked it out on at least a couple of them. So that's kind of my thought on Bell there. Chris Bell, the best chase down shot blocker in SU in the last 25 years. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, PJD, that's what I'm saying. Like, the shot is just not good. Can we afford $1 million point guard next year? Bret Hart. I don't know, because centers also cost $1 million. So I don't know. What else do we got in the chat? Again, we're Cuse Sports Talk only. I am trying to hold out to try to get you Coach Autry's presser, but I think it took him a hot minute to actually get to the podium, so I don't think there's a phenomenal chance that we're going to get it for you. So I'll just give you that now. Is he at the podium now, maybe? He might be at the podium now. Let me see if I can finesse something for you guys real quick. Let me see if I can cook for you guys. Darn. All right, sorry. WAER was live, so I was hoping they might have had Autry's press conference, but it's just like a stream of the lacrosse game. So I tried for you guys. I was going to try to get you some Autry from WAER, but it's taken a minute. Lacrosse is up real big. Don't look at me, Paul. Go board up the damn lacrosse game, Paul. Get in there. In your honest opinion, would you rather have Red Coach or Cuse Sports Know? Well, Red, because I've never seen Cuse Sports Know or coach, for one. So there's that. What else do we want to talk about? 315-437-7644. I've been with you guys for about 47-ish minutes. Look, I'm great at just talking, but I don't want to bore you guys either. So I'll put it this way. If there's anything pressing that you guys want to discuss, let's get it in there now. There have been a lot of comments. I'm bouncing between chats, so sorry if I missed it. If not, I'll cut you guys loose probably 10 minutes or so. Bret Hart, now, if Donnie comes back and we splash on a legit point guard, I think we can turn this ship around. If Donnie comes back with the young talent we have, I am optimistic. One thing I don't know what to think about is how much can freshmen help? I think they can help, but we've also seen they can't. You guys are all very sure Donnie won't be back. Like, I kind of lean he won't, but there's a chance, right? What does concern me is that the SEC is going to just offer him like $2 million. I'm not going to be here that long, Edna. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're at the varsity, but I'm not going to be here long enough to justify a pizza. I'm afraid it's like Kentucky's going to give him $1 million, $2 million that we can't give him, and then what do? That's kind of my frustration. I haven't seen how everyone's doing at the combine, to be honest. I've heard the interviews. I've heard in all the workouts and everything that McCord has been just really impressive with his metrics, with like the arm talent and all of that. So that's a positive. But I don't know how they're doing at the combine. LeQuint's 40. Sorry, I know we're flipping over to football. This is Syracuse men's basketball postgame. Syracuse falls to Virginia Tech after leading by double digits, losing by 6 in overtime, giving up over 100 points. Should have won, didn't win, sucks. Back to the combine quick. LeQuint's 40 is going to be very interesting because I think it's all the speed. He's proved that he can be versatile. I ran into the Noah Lobdell. Okay, so according to our chat, Noah Lobdell supposedly said Donnie's coming back unless he gets a huge offer. I mean, he will get a huge offer. That's the issue. That's kind of the issue. Like, he will. What else do we got here? I'm looking for more comments. Because I've kind of done what I've had to do. I've said what's on my mind. SU Orange 44. You know, that is something I will mention today, because SU Orange 44 mentioned a period where the lead was cut to 8 and it looked like a timeout should have been called and wasn't. Syracuse looked really good out of timeouts. They had a lot of good sets out of timeouts. Now, Virginia Tech had that one set after the long review where they ran that play and Bell got cooked on the little curl down by the block and just wide open bucket. But Syracuse had 3 or 4 really good moments out of timeouts. And I did like that because it feels like they don't run anything a lot. And at least they capitalized on that. So that was good. That was something new I noticed today. So there you go. There's a thing. What did you guys think about the timeouts, though? Because I thought Autry's been a little better using them, but there was a point, I think he waited until the game got tied, if I remember correctly, to call a timeout. And I think he could have, I think he could have done it a little earlier. I do think he could have done it just a smidgen earlier. That's just me, though. Aaron, come on. Pitar, I think Pitar does good things. I think Pitar can shoot the ball well. His catch and shoot is pretty good, like low clip, pretty good percentage. I think he gives you a lot of hustle and length on defense. My guy just needs to move his feet a little quicker and learn what a foul is. He's got good eyes, good sense for the game in terms of passing. I mean, he's not like your traditional ISO dribble and create his own shot kind of guy, but he can do a lot of things. I know it's the easy, maybe semi-lazy comparison, but he has some Marek in his game, except I think he's a little better shooter. And there's some things he might not do as well. Like finishing around the rim, I feel like Marek was pretty good at that. Peter is good at nothing. Okay at a lot of things. Wow, the people hate Pitar. It's a cherry Pepsi Max. I don't know, man. I like Pitar, but I'm also a sucker for, the foreign guy on the team. But, he hustles. And one thing we've questioned a lot is hustle. I think the perception of Pitar would be a lot different if he could just not foul for a little bit. That's just me. All right. I'm really trying to get y'all some Autry quotes, but I might cut y'all loose soon. We're creeping up on an hour. That's no commercials. But let me see what I can find. There's also the potential that nobody actually went out to Virginia Tech and got quotes. So that's a thing. I appreciate all you sticking around, by the way, who have. Very much appreciate that, because I feel like I've been kind of slipping these last 10 minutes or so, and you guys are still here rocking with me. Maybe it's the chat. Maybe you're just seeing what I think about the WWE Elimination Chamber, but I appreciate you rocking with me. Marek is superior to Pitar, Jason, but also here's the thing. It's Pitar's freshman year. I think Pitar has the potential, if he develops, to be a better player than Marek. The shooting, I already think, is better. He's got more size. Doesn't use it as well, but Pitar has the potential. I'm cleaning the house, so it's perfect. Gonna be okay, Jordan. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. He'll never be quick enough. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get you any Autry. So I guess I'll just start winding down, and I will leave everybody with this. So here's the first thing I'll do. RomanoCars.com would like it if I just played this one more time. RomanoCars.com, that's the sponsor of today's Adrian Autry press conference. On the Burdick Lexus, Burdick BMW, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Ford post-game show. Okay. So one more time for RomanoCars.com. Here was what Adrian Autry said on TK99 following this disgusting, despicable, vile, soul-crushing, reprehensible, unbelievable, incomprehensible, I don't even know if that's a word, loss to Virginia Tech. I'm pissed.
I thought, we had a tough stretch to start the second half, turnovers, and then offensively we got a stall. But then when we got back into it, got back in the game, our defense just wasn't good enough. I mean, they scored 100 points. So again, it's a lot of blame to go around. We got to do a better job of taking care of basketball, and then we got to do a better job of defending, and we just kind of didn't do that. We didn't do that. It's not kind of. We didn't do that. So this is a tough loss. I mean, they scored 100 points. It's not going to be fun to watch this, but still a lot of stuff that I feel like we had control over and we just didn't capitalize and take advantage of.
RomanoCars.com. Yeah, so basically the thing where they turned the ball over and didn't play defense that we heard after every loss. He didn't, unless I just zoned out, we didn't make the plays we needed to thing, though, because that was one. That was one of them. M. Shag, I am always down for a call. I am rocking and rolling as long as you guys want to an extent. So, like, if somebody's calling, I will absolutely stay on for you. I'm trying to get you some sort of Autry post game, but so let's just look towards the end of the season, right? SMU, look, never say never. There's no chance in hell they're going to win that game. 315-437-7644 if you're trying to call him Shag. There's no chance in hell they're going to beat SMU on the road. That's a good team this year. That's a good team. They got a lot of money. They're good at a lot of sports. That's not going to happen. Virginia, I feel like they've been playing better lately, which I don't like. I don't like it. The end of the year, me and Brian Higgins have been looking at this Virginia game like, is this going to be the most uncomfortably important game at 8 p.m. on a Saturday to end the regular season that we've seen? I don't think that's the case, because if I'm not mistaken, I think as long as the teams behind Syracuse don't win out, I think they're in the ACC tournament. But it's going to be such a weird game against Virginia. You really hope they win that one too. But it's not going to be as important as we thought. But when you look at the ACC tournament, they're probably going to play, it's probably going to be like a Pittsburgh. And I don't know how to feel about like a Pittsburgh, because on one hand, Syracuse proved they could play better than them to start, but both games they've lost. So I don't know. Mark, Bridgeport. I'm going to guess that's M. Shag. What's going on, Mark? Thanks for calling.
It's M. Shag. How's it going, Jordan?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just trying to stay sane after that one. They had me, Mark. They had me. I really, really thought they were going to get rolling and give me something to be happy about.
Yeah, I just want a quick look forward to next year, quick, if we could just put this game to rest real quick.
Yeah, make like a groundhog and go for it.
And this might be a question for McAllister on Monday, but I wonder if there's any either current college players, well, it would be current college players, who would be willing to take, for lack of better terms, like a hometown discount. Or maybe Donnie taking a hometown discount, knowing that we have a top recruiting class coming in. You're going to have Carmelo at your games. You're going to have Lala at your games. You're going to have celebrities at your games. Is that like a selling point for Syracuse of, okay, you may get more money here or there, but you're going to have the exposure, you're going to have the social media presence of these high-level celebrities who Cayenne's bringing in?
I mean, I don't know, Mark, because one, I think that can be countered with bigger markets and just more general publicity, more games on TV, even if it's not the money. Like, I think any increased exposure that Syracuse would get from all of that would make them more so equal to any of those schools that could provide more money rather than give an edge. And then I also just don't think, maybe I'm dumb, but I don't think college players nowadays care as much about winning as they do getting money. Maybe that's just me being a jerk. And if you're trying to make the NBA, I've always wondered this. What's better, being a piece on a great team or being the best player on like an average-ish team? Like, I don't know. I just don't know what leverage Syracuse has. I don't think they have enough to get a hometown discount sort of thing.
No, I get it. I'm just trying to...
I appreciate it. I do. No.
Trying to pull at pieces to see if, like even Melo's got the AAU team. Is there anybody who's in college basketball right now who came up to Melo's AAU team who might be entering the transfer portal who, has connections? I'm just trying to,
I mean, I think maybe that's your best hope. If, Melo has a kid who he has a relationship with that goes to another school and Melo pays his NIL, I think that might be your best shot. The Melo thing would be cool because, I mean, not a lot of colleges are going to have a player that close to the program of that caliber with his son being on the team. But unfortunately, Mark, I do think it comes down to a lot of it is money. And honestly, you can't even play and I know some guys probably left or didn't come here because of Boeheim's style, but some guys definitely came here because, you're playing for a Hall of Fame coach. You don't even have that anymore. With Coach Archer instead of Boeheim, you can't even pull the Hall of Fame head coach card anymore. It's really all about money.
It is, and I'll leave you with this. I'm not an Autry hater. I'm not an Autry big supporter, but I question when he's here for next year, and I wish him nothing but the best. I'm a Syracuse fan. I want him to win. I want him to be here forever. What is going to happen is if Autry gets fired at the end of next year and we follow down this path, the next person who comes in is going to be faced with the same exact restraints that Autry is currently faced with. So everyone who wants Autry gone, Autry's not the problem. It's much more bigger picture than that. The next guy's going to come in. He's going to be faced with the same exact restraints, with the same exact NIL, with it. Some random guy comes in who's not an alum, who's not all these people who aren't throwing money now are going to throw money at some brand new guy. I just don't. I don't see how the grass is greener on the other side beyond Autry if it's not a bigger picture program supporting the head coach.
I agree with parts of that, Mark, and it's not just the fire Autry point, so I appreciate that. And thank you for the call. I appreciate you calling. I can also see the other side of it, though, where fans are like, well, if every coach is going to have the same issues, then why not just try to find a better one? The one thing that I don't get is, people talk about coaches that are in lesser divisions, and it's well, they don't have as much NIL money and they're doing great. It's well, yeah, you're in a worse division, not playing most of your games against schools that do have a lot of money. If you're in the Sun Belt, you don't need as much NIL to compete as you do in the ACC. Is that fair to say? Like, is that fair to say? So that's one thing that does kind of bother me, because it's like, oh, this guy does more with less. It's like, yeah, because he has to go up against less. Of course. Stick that guy in the ACC. Do you think he's going to be as good with the same amount of money? I don't. Brian Hodgson is at Arkansas State. I don't know crap about Arkansas State, by the way, so the guy might be an awesome coach. But I'm sick of hearing like, oh, this team has less NIL money. This team has less. Look at the net rankings. These teams have better net. Yeah, dude, they're playing against James Madison and Justin Taylor putting up 0 points. You don't need a lot of NIL money to be good against Justin Taylor. So, like, that take kind of bothers me, as you can tell by the unnecessary raise in volume. I understand the ACC sucks, Coach D, so I do know what you mean there. But they suck because they were once good and are now paling in comparison to, like, the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the SEC, who has all this money, and they don't look as good, I think. We'll find out come tournament time, but the ACC's down. But you're not going to try to tell me like the Sun Belt's better than the ACC, are you? You're not going to try to tell me the MAC's better than the ACC, are you? The Horizon League, the Big South, are you? Syracuse stinks too, Coach D. I'm not hiding that. Who is Cuse playing? They're playing the ACC. Syracuse stinks. I'm just saying, okay, if you think Sunbelt teams are like better than like the mid-tier ACC teams, then I don't know. I don't know, because we're not gonna agree on that one. So I'll just leave that there. But I'm just saying, like, just because a coach does well at a different program doesn't mean they could come here and automatically be the same coach. Oh, Southland. Tronic's got the Southland. McNeese. Oh, Quadir. How about the manager? How about Amir Khan, the manager? I'm going to search one more time for some Autry quotes. I'm going to cut you loose so my guy David can hopefully chill out for a little bit before he has to go work. I'm not going to tell you where he works because I feel like that's a violation of privacy, but you can get some good grub there. Yeah, I'm not finding any Autry quotes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, well. Do we have the presser? Do we have the presser? Did you guys see the thing about, who was it? It was Patino and somebody else, Coach K, I believe, who said that they would be down to combine the Big East and the ACC. That would be kind of lit. That would be kind of lit. Oh, hold on. Hold on. All right, gang. All right, gang. Okay, David. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to finally have an end to this because we should be able to give you Adrian Autry's press conference. And after we do that, I am outie. I am so outie. But I think I should be able to get you Autry's presser, and then you can all be on your way. All right, David. So here's the deal. Here's what's going to happen. And thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for sticking with me. He's not dodging the presser. Thank you all for sticking with me. I'm going to dip like right after this. So feel no need to just like come back after. If you don't care about Red, you don't need to watch. But if you do want to hear Red, we're going to play it for you. Okay, David, in my folder, so you're going to have to go into the video playback ad. Production Public, find my folder, and there's going to be a video titled Autry VT. That is the file. Guys, I have successfully stalled long enough for you guys to get this Autry an hour and 7 minutes. I get paid the same damn amount whether or not I do 30 or 70. Shout out to David out there. David's hourly. He's probably pissed at me, but, you know, thanks for doing your thing, David. We're going to get that Autry presser soon. I'm not working the crunch game. I appreciate you, sport boy. Give me some sort of signal when you get the presser. If you do, David, and we will play it, and then we'll be out. And And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the kind words. I enjoy doing these. I enjoy the post games. I enjoy actually chatting with you guys. I like doing the shows with you. You got it? All righty, baby. Shout out our guy, David. That guy, like, no way. We call him an intern. No way he's an intern. Good shit, that guy. We've lost to teams the worst NILs. Explain. Darwoosh, I'm terribly sorry, man, but now is not the time for me to answer that question. I mean, Autry's not the best coach in the world, so I'm not going to say he is. But I'm just saying they don't have the players either. Things aren't mutually exclusive, damn it. All right, without further ado, thank you, RomanoCars.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Burdick BMW, Burdick Lexus, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Ford, for sponsoring our post-game show. Here is Red Autry after the loss to Virginia Tech, which sucked and made me cry a little bit.
I thought the game, the way we started the second half, some careless turnovers, and then we got regrouped. But when it came down to it, our defense just wasn't good enough. We gave up some easy back doors. They scored at ease, and then we had a drought where we couldn't score. And that's where you need your defense. And as we talk about, that happens. That's when you need your defense. Once they got back into the game, it was back and forth. We just couldn't get the stops. Our defense just didn't hold up. As you can tell, 101 points. I know it's overtime, but even going into regulation, 82 points. That's a lot of points, especially on the road. It's hard to win on the road when you let a team score like that. I thought our first half was good. Second half, again, we didn't defend like we did the first half. Questions? I thought that was, I talked to our guys. I just thought that's what got them back in the game, and I would love to say we were trying to do some elaborate schemes, simple as it can be. We driving in and people are in the gap and they just take the ball. And, it's been that way. And I don't, again, we try to, show film, get better at that, but that's what's frustrating, about this, because I thought we came out with good intentions, right mindset, right intensity, and even the second half, the only way they can get back in the game is what we talked about, is taking care of the basketball, taking good shots, and then defending. And right from the beginning, they got right back in the game, and obviously they play really good here. They play well here. Even if they lose, Louisville, anybody, it's a close game. They play good here, so we knew it was going to be a hard game. But that's very frustrating. Very frustrating that all we have to do is just pass the ball and get it to the other side, and maybe we can get something going. But that allowed them to get out and get some easy baskets early in the second half.
Coach, what do you think changed defensively that allowed you to kind of go in that run that they did in the second half?
When we couldn't score, I thought. I don't think they did much. I think it was a lot of us. I thought we got stagnant. I thought even when we got it in there, we kind of settled a little bit at times. And then the times we went in there and we missed some close shots, but not much. I think it was really more of what we didn't do. Again, wasn't a lot of defense. 90-some points and 102. So it was really more of what we didn't do. Again, we had a big offensive lull that that allowed them to get back into the game, and some of that was the momentum was because of the turnovers as well.
What's the message in the huddle when you guys are going through that offensive lull as they're going on that run to come back and tie it?
Well, we're trying to get good shots, and I thought a couple of those possessions we actually did get good shots, some driving kicks that didn't fall, or, attacking the basket. But we talk about getting back and getting stops. That's what, teams do. When you go through those droughts, that's where you got to depend on your defense. And our defense is, they just, again, some of the points that they got, and again, they got a lot of and ones, especially late in the game. I thought that was a difference too. They get a chance to get 3-point opportunities as opposed to 2-point opportunities. But in those times, in those huddles, man, I'm just talking about let's get stops. Let's focus on defense and take good shots. And I thought we did.
the turnovers came down to just you guys rather than Virginia Tech doing anything that forced those turnovers? Was a lot of self-inflicted?
I mean, what did you see?
I mean, I guess first possession, second half, but you threw it away right to Virginia Tech.
Yeah. I mean, again, they do a good job of doubling the post. You know, we talked about our post positioning. You know, that was a turnover. But again, you know, it was in the scheme. We knew that was going to happen. You know, we just got to do a better job of handling that. We didn't. And then we got to do a better job of when we do try to put it on the floor and drive in there. If someone's in a gap, we got to get off of it.
It is hard to say too much about your offense. You can score a bunch of points, but I mean, in the second half they went bigger. They put a big guy on Jaquan, and they had a bigger guy in the middle. Did that at all change the way you wanted to approach trying to bang the ball inside a little bit?
No, I thought we got the ball in. I would have liked to get the ball a little bit, closer. But these guys are all big and physical. But once you get the ball below the foul line, that's pretty good. And I thought, them going bigger didn't have any impact really. We still got the ball down there. Again, I just thought, that time when we couldn't score, we just came up with empty possessions. Our defense just didn't hold up. And that's why you stress, having a good defensive team and being able to get some stops. And I thought that, I think a couple of plays that stick out, that shot clock, I thought it was a violation. No, not violation. When we get them to miss and we can't get the rebound and they get back and score. I thought that was key. We got to get that rebound.
Right. In a season of ups and downs, coming off the momentum of the win on Wednesday and then the lead in this game before losing, how do you keep the team up and what is the mood of the team like?
I think, again, every loss is tough. Obviously this one, is some minutes right after. So I'm sure that they, again, we talked about it, they're down, but we gotta, get ourselves ready, and we'll get ourselves ready to go fight the next game. These guys have fought. There's no quit in them. I still say that, even though we come up on the wrong side of it. But you got to keep fighting, keep battling. We're playing for something. And that's the end of the day. We have something to play for.
Got time for one more.
Why do you think? I mean, Eddie had such a great start offensively, but didn't score in the second half. Did you see anything different in terms of how they were guarding him or how he was playing?
No, I don't think so. I think, Jair had it kind of going a little bit, and then, I thought JJ, picked his spots. I think, I just think that was the flow of the game, and then, he had a couple of chances, to get his hands on it and duck him in. And sometimes we miss him when he's in low position, so he has to come out and release. So I thought he'd play a little bit more further out, but we got to do a better job of trying to get those guys the ball in certain areas. But I thought Jair was really good the second half.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you. We're going to do our interviews out loud.